Eighth grade. So today's lesson is going to be on analyzing comparisons and analogies. So let's start. Suppose a friend told you her baby sister was as sweet as pumpkin pie. Your friend compared two very different things, a baby and a pie, to help you understand just how adorable her sister is. Now, if you've already learned about figurative language, you would know that this is a simile because it uses the word as to compare two different things, right? But that's actually not the focus of today's lesson. We're simply talking about comparisons and analogies. Authors use comparisons too. They may use them to show how two people, ideas, or events are similar or different. They may also use an unusual comparison to make the reader stop and think. They may also use analogies or extended comparisons to help present and explain complex ideas. Let's look at the image and think about the sign and the message it is sending about oranges. The sign says, "Our oranges are like little bits of sunshine." So, what do you think about the comparison? What connects oranges to bits of sunshine? Let's look at the chart below, and it tells you how and why the sign is comparing two different things. So first, let's start with the object and the idea. So the object is oranges, which the vendor wants to sell, right? These oranges are all for sale. What are the oranges being compared to? They're being compared to sunshine, which makes people feel happy and healthy. So what's the purpose of this comparison? It's to show that the oranges will make the buyer feel happy and healthy. Now, if you are a seller, obviously you want to try to do something to make people buy your product. So how does the seller do it here? He compares the oranges to sunshine, which we all know makes people feel happy and healthy, right? Who doesn't like some sunshine? So the seller uses that comparison to try to make the buyers more interested in the oranges. So by analyzing the comparisons and analogies in a text, you can uncover additional layers of meaning in what the author is writing. There really are times when it really is helpful to compare apples to oranges. All right, let's move to the next page. Sorry guys, this is really slow. Oh, my apologies if I didn't tell you the page number at the beginning. It was page 27. Let's go to the top. Very slow. All right, here we go. All right, so let's read the first two paragraphs of an account about the history of food in Puerto Rico. So let's pay attention to what is being compared over here. All right. Did you know that dinner can be a history lesson? So already right here we see two things are being compared. Dinner is being compared to a history lesson. The history of Puerto Rico, located in the northeastern Caribbean, is reflected in its dishes. Everything from pineapples to arroz con pollo, which is chicken with rice. All that is influenced by the story of the island's residents and visitors. Puerto Rico's first inhabitants were the Taino, and they ate food native to the island. So whatever food was there available on the island, the first people that lived in Puerto Rico ate that food. This included different tubers or roots such as potatoes and yams, as well as herbs, beans, and peppers. When Spanish explorers arrived in the late 15th and early 16th centuries, they brought Spanish foods to Puerto Rico. Chiefly, they introduced chicken, pork, and beef. African slaves traveling with Europeans brought foods such as okra and coffee, as well as the cooking method of deep frying food. Both groups shaped inhabitants' diets, and many quote-unquote authentic Puerto Rican dishes, such as chicken and rice, came about after people from Europe and Africa arrived. So when you think of Puerto Rican food today, it's not all food that was always originally there in Puerto Rico. It's the result of cultural exchanges. between multiple groups of people. So let's explore to answer these questions. What does the author mean when she compares dinner to a history lesson? How is this analogy developed throughout this part of the account? So based on what we just read, um, Puerto Rican food, right, is based on events that happened in history. The reason why Puerto Rican food is what it is today, and if you go to if you eat authentic Puerto Rican food, the reason why you have what is on your plate is because of what happened in history, right? Such as when the Spanish explorers came to Puerto Rico, and the Africans bring in their foods over here, right? So let's look at the chart. And this is this is the same type of chart that we saw on the first page. What object is being described here? Dinner, which can include food from different places and cultures. What is dinner being compared to? A history lesson, which tells us about earlier people and events. So what's the connection between dinner and a history lesson? The connection is that ingredients in the foods served in Puerto Rico have cultural history behind them, as I just explained to you. All right? So, what is the relationship between people from Europe and Africa and Puerto Rican food? I don't need you to write this in your book, but this is basically what we just went over, and that should explain how the analogy dinner is like a history lesson. It explains that, right? All right, now for your classwork and your exit ticket, you're going to read this text, and I want you to pay attention to the close reading tips and everything that's written on the side. All right. So this article is about the many faces of Nigerian food. We can see that it's social studies or like a historical account. So you're gonna you notice how the title mentions the many faces of Nigerian food. So as you read, you want to look for details that help explain that analogy. All right. Pay attention to what is being compared to what in this account. And I want you to draw a box around the sentence that helps you understand the differences between southern and northern Nigeria. And think about what analogy the author makes in the title. And I want you to circle details in the text that develop the analogy. All right. And questions number 1 and 2 are for classwork, and 3 is the exit ticket. Make sure for this question you answer it like a short response. You answer the question by rephrasing it and then answering it, and then make sure you use at least 2 details from the passage, and try to use these hints to help you as well. All right, that is all for today.